What is that? What? February the 12th, 2024. Guys, you're looking at a tremendous amount of rapid-fire solar activity happening on our sun, and most of it is Earth-facing. When you see all the white speckles, that's energized particles that are striking the cameras of this SOHO satellite. This is LASCO C2. There's one, you see the energized particles. 3, these are very powerful. 4 right there. A 5th one coming in. Wow. And a couple things happening here as we let this go back through. You're going to see in this area near the end of this sequence, as we approach the 12th and the date, one of those objects that many people try to call Planet X exiting the sun, and they will pause it right in the middle of that circle. Did you see that? Anyway, what we're dealing with is incoming coronal mass ejections. The last one, the most powerful one, is moving faster than the first ones, and we're going to look at the models on that. This is the same satellite, guys. It's a different camera that gives you very much wider area. Notice in the red camera, we're very close to the center of the sun. Again, this is the sun, or the sun is represented in its area by the white circle. The black dot, or dark blue in this case, is what's called an occulter disk. It blocks the glare of the sun so we can see what's going on around it. And you're seeing the rapid fire of these solar bursts and the energized particles as they approach this satellite. Check that out, blowing by it. Everything's hot when it's doing that. And we're going to be dealing with this in a solar storm, geomagnetic radiation storm for the next few days. Guys, and this is the tracking of this explosion, and there was one in the camera images we were just looking at from SOHO that is not on here. And just a few seconds of it, it was another very powerful blast. Let's play this forward. Again, the sun is here in the yellow dot. The Earth is represented in the green dot, and this is stereo A and B satellites. Notice it's a direct impact on our planet. It's showing it right here in the green chart, guys. This is the Earth, if it's in green, both in solar wind speed, which is radial velocity, kilometers per second, plasma density in centimeters cubed. They changed the scale to go up to 60 right there. Let me back it up just a little. Shows a start of an impact here, probably the first smaller ones, and then the combined impact right there. And that's showing at 0300 hours on the 13th. So we're approaching that very quickly. That's going to be about 10 p.m. tonight on the East Coast. Today's the 12th. We're dealing with universal time right there. So let's let it play forward. And you got the small impact, then the hard, solid wall impact there, then another one there. Again, Earth is represented in the green lines. The red and blue are the 2 stereo satellites, but in our kilometers per second, our solar wind speed, we're going to be dealing with 600 plus kilometers per second. You're going to be over 1 million miles per hour. We're dealing with impacts, both radiation, proton energy, and the plasma density here, and pressure on not only humans but our tectonic earthquake plates. And you can see here the fire, or the rapid fire of these things coming off the sun. Check this out as it plays back through. I'm going to speed it up a little here. Right there, we got 1, 2. The third one's coming off. 4th, and that 4th one is the strong one. It's called a cannibal CME because it overtakes and consumes the ones in front of it. But you can see right here, there's one that's not involved in that cannibal CME, and that's this lump right there. But as we go forward, they combine. You can also see it on the different chart here, each wave building coming in and impact here. Again, starting around 0300 hours. Now, on these charts, and these models, they say that they give you a plus or minus 7 hours of a window of impact time because it leaves the sun at a certain speed, travels 93 million miles, and they will slow down. But they don't know exactly the timing, but it's getting closer over the years. But they do offer that plus or minus 7 hour window of impact. And let's take a look at space weather for a minute. But guys, I want to say this. I should have started the video with it. But the power of the prayers that I felt last night, I woke up one time, and it always takes me 2 or 3 hours to go back to sleep, and that is one of the symptoms of kidney problems. And the extreme fatigue and the pain in the abdomen is pretty intense too. But I think I mentioned that I thought I had been so tired since the surgery in the summer for back problems that's where my fatigue and tiring out so quick was coming from. But I see now that I was wrong about it. And they call it a silent disease, kidney disease and high blood pressure, things like that, and they can be caused by each other. But I just wanted to say that, and the donations you make, guys, can make such a difference. And I think if you realize when people are praying for you, you kind of say, okay, I want to accept that prayer, that they start to work. But again, last night I woke up, it was a little before midnight, and it takes a while to go back to sleep, but I felt an easing in that pain in my side and of relaxation. And that's without any pain medicine. I'm allergic to all the most powerful ones, Percocets, Lorcets. I can't take that. And so I just felt quite an ease, and I know without a doubt that the Lord was touching me, because there were so many petitions of prayer for the help. I just want to say thank you for that. It means a lot to me that the folks out there that listen, watch our videos, and we comment and talk, that you care that much. It means a lot. Thank you. Anyway, back to the video. It says solar radiation storm now for the second time in less than a week. And if you look back a couple of days ago at the solar wind speed, it was over 500 kilometers per second. It says for the second time in less than a week, energetic solar protons are raining down on the Earth's upper atmosphere. Forecasters call this a solar radiation storm, and that's what we're dealing with, guys. And it's not as bad in the winter, but in the summer it seems to amplify the heat and the drought. It says today's storm near category S2 is rich in hard protons. With energies greater than 50 megaelectron volts, it is causing a shortwave radio blackout inside the Arctic Circle and speckling the cameras of some of Earth's orbiting satellites. That's what you're seeing as the LASCO C2 satellite and C3 cameras were getting hit from the impact of that. I was calling it energized particles, and that's what it is. This plot shows you the GOS proton flux, 5-minute data here. This storm from these solar flares, and this was coming from possibly, one of the impacts will be the energy involved from an X flare that just happened a couple of days ago. But you can see you're at 10 mega electron volts. That's a lot of energy. The plot above shows storm data recorded by NOAA's GOES 18 satellite in Earth's orbit. Sensors on the satellite are counting energetic protons as they pass by en route to Earth, triggered by an explosion near the sun's southwestern limb. This storm could last for another 24 hours. So you've got that. Guys, it affects everything, the jet streams. And today the wind changed after a tremendous amount of flooding rain last night. Some of the heaviest rain I remember in quite a while. Pounding. Driveways washing out, gravel driveways, everything like that around here. But the wind now has changed and starting to get very cool. We're going to be here in around 34 tonight, real feel here in central Mississippi, below 30 possibly tomorrow night. So guys, prepare for that. That wind, if you saw it change a few hours ago from the north, it has changed the temperatures. But again, this could last another 24 hours from this particular event. Now, this solar flare detection, it's an X-ray flux chart, is showing these events here, and the red line is an X. That's where the X flares begin. These two almost hit it. I mean, they're bumping the line. And then I said there was one occurring at the end of the video that we were seeing from Soho. And you can see this has not come back down. And it looks like another event, which is kind of a longer event than these spikes, occurring now. But this rapid fire explosions, that's what we're showing in X-ray flux. Notice something else. This is the probability of solar flares and proton events. When it says 25% chance of an X flare, that's very strong. C flares 99, M flares 75% chance, proton events 99% chance of an event, and that's those solar storms that we see coming in. You can also see where when the events happened, they were over the U.S., or they were basically south of the U.S. and in the Pacific Ocean. You have upper level ionization. That's when you see the radio blackouts and things like that. But again, 25% chance of X flares is something to pay attention to. Now let's look at the SDO images where we can look down at the sun itself. Now guys, this is the Solar Dynamics Observatory satellite. It also is Earth-facing, gives us an idea of what's coming towards our planet. There's 12 cameras on this one. Each one has a different filter. You've seen the green teal one. Many times it shows a clear shot of the X flares. But this is the most natural. This is the 304 or the red camera. Multiple explosions that we're witnessing. Here in the center of the sun, this is why we have a 25% chance of an X flare. When you see these ropes, what we call solar filaments, erupt, like right there, they can be just as dangerous as a solar flare because of the impact. They whip out, or they slinging out in a whip-like motion when one side of these filaments, just like right there, touches an active region like one of these sunspots. What happens, you'll see it here, you have three flares in one. You have the explosion, then the filament release, and as the filament is pulled back, parts of it pulled back to the sun because of the gravity, you see what's called a hider flare. And it's like an earthquake eruption back on the surface. But you'll see a perfect example of a filament release right there. Now, that's not an Earth-facing one, but there's enough energy here in the last few days to give us those 4 CMEs that are approaching our planet. Now, again, by 10 o'clock tonight, Eastern Time, 10 p.m., we could start seeing the effects of that. It always concerns me because we are seeing multiple earthquakes. I saw a report come out from the USGS, the earthquake group, that the San Andreas is kind of in overtime right now as far as pressure's built up. It's time for another major release. It hasn't happened, but they will always start to show a pattern of an uptick in smaller quakes or precursor quakes before the big ones. So watch for that, and we're starting to see a little bit of activity in California also. We know that Iceland's in trouble. That city may be gone before all of this is over with because of that lava flow. That's connected to the Mid-Atlantic Ridge, which is like the zipper for half of our planet and comes all the way up into the Arctic itself. So there's a lot of energy being transferred into the Mid-Atlantic Ridge because of its Arctic connections from solar activity and radiation that heats the core of the planet. Where's the first place? If it's heating the poles through our magnetopoles and our magnetic shields and our lines of force, is Iceland. That's when we're seeing that activity now. But there's been movement and quakes moving south of Iceland down into the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. And at the Mid-Atlantic Ridge, guys, in the center of it, it's splitting. The left side is moving towards the U.S., the right side is moving towards Europe very slowly. But when that pressure releases, and if that Mid-Atlantic Ridge ever has a major eruption in our lifetime or split, you're going to see tsunamis on both continents. Now, looking at the earthquakes to date, you've got a 6.1, which is our strongest right here. That was in the Volcano Islands in Japan. Very deep quake, 249 kilometers. You're starting to see pressure. Of course, we always see it in the top of the Ring of Fire, the northern sections along the Aleutian Islands. That is dangerous because when they start throwing the filaments off the sun, the filament releases that I was showing you, it seems to impact this area every time. But you've got here, and this is what I was talking about, 4.8 in Central California. Now that is Just one of the quakes that we've been looking at. Let me change the filter slightly. And I think one of the key indicators, guys, of the pressure on the plates is this very unusual quake that happened last week, 4.0, that was 163 kilometers east of Cape Canaveral, Florida. It was at 10 kilometers deep, and you'll see that a lot when they're not really sure if it's an ocean quake. They'll mark it 10 kilometers. You can see there's been activity in Oklahoma. When you see that, not always, but a lot of times it has to do with oil exploration and fracking. You see that little diamond right there? That's an explosion, a quarry blast. But a lot of times in Oklahoma and Texas, you can look at what they call fracking in many cases. But it's been very active in small quakes alone. The San Andreas Fault, it always is. And then you come out and go up into the Cascadia section here. And both of these are tied. They actually split apart. This is a separate plate from the North American plate and the Pacific plate. Got quakes here. We look around the ring of fire. Of course, this is building up. And again, the scientists are saying that the San Andreas is overdue for a major release because you've got two plates that are separating there. So pay attention to it, guys. There's not a whole hell of a lot you can do about it if you're in an area that has a lot of quakes until it hits. So be aware of your surroundings. And notice here, there's a buildup of pressure in the Gulf of California. Check that out. Here's a Baja. Further down, we'll look around the ring of fire totally here. Coming around, starting to pick up activity here. All of this region is always active with very large quakes. But we just need to pay attention to what we're seeing coming in and what the impact of the rest of the increasing solar cycle that we're in will have on this planet. We know that an angel pours his vial out upon the sun, and it scorches men. We know that. And it doesn't say exactly how it does it, but if you ask me, there's some event that happens on the sun that causes an energetic reaction that starts throwing off these heavy CMEs and solar flares and causing the radiation to penetrate our upper atmosphere and increase the heat. The summer could be very hot. We're going to have to pay attention to it. Let me say this, one other thing about this deal that I'm going through. Again, it's a shock. I've got to change a lot, my whole perspective, actually, on plans going forward and things like that. But they call high blood pressure and they call your kidneys kind of a silent killer. In other words, you don't really know the symptoms, right? And I said this, that I thought that a lot of mine were the tiredness, weakness, and lack of breath, fatigue, all of that was from remnants of the summer back surgery. If it had not been for that, I may have went and already had a checkup and not let it get this advanced with both kidneys being affected the way they are. So, guys, if you're experiencing that, now I'm in my late 60s, then a lot of that you would attribute naturally, like a little fatigue, tiredness. Even they say your concentration levels, things like that, can be affected. Your kidneys they filter out all the poisons in your blood, and it affects a tremendous amount of things. But it's, again, the silent killer thing is important. If you're experiencing that, again, fatigue, not thinking clearly, tired, pain in your abdomen, you maybe think it was something else, go get checked up and you get to the situation that I'm in now. But again, thank you guys for everything, the prayers and the donations. I will put the Go Send Go link below. We also have on our PayPal set up a donation thing there too. It helps. It takes some pressure off because, like I said yesterday, I've had a pretty long life. I've seen a lot of places, sailed, seen many sections of this nation, and again, but my concern is my family, and I've always said that my one major prayer was always, Lord, when you take me, I'd sure like to go when our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ sets his foot on the ground and go with my family all at one time. Of course, everybody wishes that, right? But I just feel that I need to do everything I can and prepare for their existence. I guess you would say it right, to keep them going. I've got, like I said, I got kids, grandkids, and a bunch of huskies. And so we're going to do what we can. I'm a fighter. I'm not going to quit. I said that yesterday. And thank you guys again. And let me reiterate, the power of prayer can be felt, especially when it's in a multitude of people doing it the way you guys were yesterday. That's such a blessing, and I appreciate it very much. It's a heads up, guys. Be safe.